Did you know that learning breathing techniques and doing breathwork as a healing practice are completely separate things? And this is why. Now, if you are a coach, a healer, a nurse, a therapist, somebody who's in the wellness profession, a healing arts practitioner, you've heard the term breathwork. You heard nervous system regulation, nervous system dysregulation, but what does that have to do with breathing? Long story short, your nervous system is basically this big antenna that's always detecting whether or not you are safe in all the ways, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, energetically, financially. In all the ways, it's deciding, am I safe? Yes or no? So if you're holding your breath, your body's going to interpret that as suffocation. It's going to send a signal to your mind that we're not safe, and it's going to trigger you into a survival mode. Now, the breath comes into play because the way that your mind and your body communicate with each other is through the breath, is through breathing. So the way that you breathe impacts the way that your body sends information. So if you're breathing in, but you're not breathing out, your body's going to send a particular type of information. If you're breathing out, but you're not fully breathing in, it's going to send a particular type of information. If you're breathing too fast, if you're breathing too slow, it's a very particular type of information. And there's so many different variations of how we breathe, right? Sometimes we inhale, but we forget to exhale. Sometimes we are inhaling too fast. Sometimes we're exhaling too fast. There's so many different variations, but essentially the way that we're breathing gets sent up to our brain to interpret what it is that we're experiencing. Are we stressed? Are we in fear? Are we anxious? Are we blank? Fill in the blank. So breathwork as an umbrella term for if you change the way that you breathe, you'll change the way that you feel. Now, the key difference in learning breathing techniques and doing breath work for healing is that one of them will trigger you. Your nervous system, your survival mode, your suppressed emotions, your suppressed memories, just to name a few. Now, breathing techniques are for everyday people, for everyday use. So you can use these techniques for mood, energy, inner healing, grounding, sleep, to connect to yourself, to have mindfulness throughout your day. If you're anxious, if you're stressed, if you need to just take a breather, all of these different techniques exist in order for you to be able to regulate your nervous system on a day-to-day basis. And breathing techniques are essentially safe for everyone for the most part. Parents, teachers, kids, anxious people, stressed people, it doesn't matter. These are everyday tools for everyone. And actually, I've outlined 33 of them in this book, Breathe, and they talk about the mood, the energy, inner healing, grounding, and sleep implications of just having really quick somatic breathing practices on the day-to-day that don't necessarily require you to go to a breathwork class, which is a little bit different. So now if we're talking about breathwork as a healing tool, we're talking about getting triggered a little bit. Now, breathwork for healing is not stuff that you pull out when you're anxious for a test or you're nervous to send that email. It is a practice that you commit to when you're healing trauma, hypervigilance, hypovigilance, generational and ancestral patterning, and you want to physiologically shift the way that your body responds to discomfort. Understanding this difference is important because breathing techniques is for everyone, essentially, but breathing as a healing tool requires you to be supported by a qualified practitioner who understands the mechanisms of the nervous system, survival modes, trauma, emotions, and the role that emotions play in the way that you interpret what your body is saying, the psychosomatics, the mind-body connection, and the role of integrative energy sciences that go into healing in a deep, complex way. As a breather, it's great to know what your intentions are for your practice. Do you want to know everyday breathing practices? Well, in which case, here's a resource, Breathe by Shanila Sattar. There's 33 practices in here. And you can also head to www.flowbreathworktraining.com. There's a bunch of practices in there that are just for you to learn how to regulate your energy, your mood, your inner healing, your grounding, relaxation, and to activate sleep when you can't sleep. Or are you trying to get into healing work, in which case you should probably find a breathwork facilitator who can hold space for that and lead you through breathwork that is more intended for healing. And as a practitioner, it's great for you to know what it is that you want to hold space for. Do you want to show people everyday breathing techniques that help regulate their nervous systems, help them with mood, energy, inner healing, grounding, and for sleep? Well, here's a resource that you can share with your clients and your community. It's Breathe by Shanila Sattar. Or you can also see if you want to come into your next layer of facilitation. Do you want to hold space for that trauma? What do you do when things are triggered? The nervous system is triggered. The emotions are coming up. The energy within the body is changing and shifting. And do you want to be able to hold space for that? Now, if you want to come breathe or you want to come train with us, head to www.flowbreathworktraining.com and let me know, does this distinction between breathing techniques and breathwork for healing support you in any kind of way? Leave me a comment. I'll see you soon.